feel like the world today is just incredibly confusing? It seems like these polarizing and honestly sometimes really harmful ideas are spreading faster than ever. They just hijack our attention, our conversations. It can feel like our minds are constantly under attack. And it brings up this huge question I think every single one of us is asked while scrolling through our phones or talking with family. Why? Why do the bad ideas, the misinformation, seem to catch fire and spread so much faster than the good ones? What makes them so contagious? Well, here's a wild idea to wrap your head around. For an idea to survive, the truth is absolutely optional. It doesn't need to be helpful. It doesn't need to be right. The only thing an idea needs to do to win is to get copied, to get from one mind to another. Its survival is all about replication. To really get a handle on this, we're going to look at it through a really powerful new lens. It's called Cognitive Virology, and it suggests we should stop thinking about ideas as good or bad and start seeing them for what they really are: little packets of information that behave exactly like a virus. And their goal is to infect the mind. Now, the basic unit here is something called a meme. And nope, I'm not talking about the funny cat pictures on the internet. In its original scientific sense, a meme is just a unit of cultural information. It could be a belief, a catchphrase, a whole worldview. And just like a gene in biology, it has one simple goal: make more copies of itself. So think of it like this. Genes, right? They're units of biological information. They get passed down through lineage, from parent to child. They're constrained by biology. But memes, ideas, they're totally different. They're units of cultural information, and they can spread sideways, instantly, to anyone on the planet. They just hijack the mental machinery we already have. Honestly, they act way more like a virus than they do a gene. And this is where it gets really interesting. These viral ideas, they don't just spread by random chance. Not at all. They follow a predictable 5-step infection cycle. And once you learn to see this cycle, I promise you're going to start seeing it everywhere. So here they are, the 5 steps: attach, enter, replicate, defend, and transmit. You can think of this as the virus's entire playbook. And if even one of these steps fails, the idea just fizzles out and dies. But if all 5 work, that idea can completely take over its host. Okay, so it all kicks off with step 1, attach. A viral idea doesn't create a new feeling out of thin air. No, it's smarter than that. It finds an emotional receptor that's already there inside you: fear, outrage, a deep need to belong. It uses language that hits home, like "if you've ever felt overlooked," to make that first critical connection. So once it's attached, the idea has to get past your mental guards. This is the enter stage. And it's sneaky. It doesn't try to win a debate with you. Instead, it uses mental shortcuts, little cheat codes like appeals to authority, experts agree, or social proof. Everyone's talking about this. It's trying to get you to nod along before you've even had a chance to really think. Now, once it's inside, the idea moves to step 3, replicate. This is where it really gets to work, running on its own inside your head. It starts generating new thoughts for you. It explains your past. Oh, that's why I failed before. It predicts your future. The next big thing is coming. And it starts framing the world in really simple terms, like us versus them. The person who spread it to you is gone. The idea is now doing the thinking for you. Okay, next up. The idea has to protect itself. This is the defend stage. A really successful viral idea builds its own immune system. It's brilliant in a way. It takes any doubt, any argument against it, and just flips it around as more evidence that the idea must be true. So arguing with it, that just becomes fuel for the fire. Questioning it starts to feel dangerous. And the final, critical step is transmit. To really survive, the virus needs new hosts. So how does it get you to spread it? This is the masterstroke. It ties itself directly to your identity. Sharing the idea makes you feel smart or moral or like you're one of the few who are finally awake. And the moment you explain it to someone else, bam, the loop is complete. The virus has found a new host. All right, I know this all might sound a little theoretical, right? So let's bring it down to earth with a case study that we all just lived through. And you can see exactly how this 5-step cycle played out with chilling precision right across the globe. The cognitive virus loop ran like absolute clockwork during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it happened on all sides.
Step 1, attach, a perfect storm of pre-existing fear about an invisible threat. Step 2, enter. You had shortcuts from every angle. Trust the experts, protect the vulnerable, but also it's a bioweapon. This is being censored. Step 3, replicate. It just compressed all that complexity into a simple, safe versus unsafe. Step 4, defend. Doubt became a moral failing. Hesitancy meant you were killing grandma. And finally, transmit. It was totally locked to identity. You were either vaxxed and boosted and therefore a good, smart person, or you were a pureblood and therefore awake and strong.
So that's the problem, and it's a big one. If these cognitive viruses are so powerful, what on earth can we do about it? Well, the good news is, just like with biological viruses, we're not defenseless. We can actually develop a kind of mental immunity. We can learn to spot this infection cycle and disarm it before it takes root. So what does this mental vaccine actually look like? How do we actively build up our own mental immune system? Well, it all starts with learning to ask a few simple diagnostic questions whenever you run into a powerful new idea. First up, for that attach phase. When you feel that emotional tug from an idea, just pause for a second and ask yourself, what emotion is this hitting? Is it grabbing onto my fear, my desire to belong, my sense of moral outrage? Just being able to name the emotional receptor makes you so much harder to manipulate. Next, for the enter phase, ask yourself, what shortcut did they just use on me? Are they appealing to authority? Telling me everyone agrees? Hinting that this is secret, suppressed information. You're listening for those little cheat codes that ask you to agree before you've even had a chance to think. For the replicate phase, the question is really simple. Is this idea starting to think for me? Is it suddenly connecting dots in my life that I wasn't even thinking about? If an idea starts generating its own explanations for things, that is a huge red flag that it's replicating inside your mind. And for defend, this one is huge. Just watch the room. What happens socially when someone disagrees? Is doubt explored with curiosity, or is it punished? If questioning the idea comes with a social price, you are looking at a viral defense mechanism, plain and simple. And finally, for transmit, follow the identity. Ask yourself, what identity does spreading this idea give a person? Does it make them feel smart, moral, part of the in-crowd, on the right side of history? If an idea offers someone an identity upgrade, it's going to spread, and that means it's definitely worth a second look. Beyond those diagnostics, here are 3 super powerful questions you can use to stop a virus in its tracks. Instead of arguing inside the idea's frame, you step outside of it. You ask things like, what kind of evidence would actually change your mind about this? Or who even gets to decide what counts as proof here? These questions are like a pattern interrupt. They force a pause in the viral code. And maybe the most powerful mindset shift of all is this one. You have to internalize this phrase right here. You can change your take without changing who you are. You don't owe loyalty to an idea. You are allowed to question something without betraying yourself. This gives you and others the freedom to step back and reevaluate without feeling like you're losing a part of yourself. Because here's the bottom line. An idea doesn't have to be true to shape your reality, to shape your relationships, to change your whole life. It just has to be good at replicating. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Which of your own deeply held ideas might have used this exact cycle to infect you? Which of them might need a second look?